You know, it just really kills me when you see like grown-ass men act like children. Shoves the plate off of the bar. I did my duty to try to not have what was about to happen, but here we are. But it's one of my personal favorites because this deals with how like genuinely stupid some grown men and women are. He swings his arm back, smacks me in the face, and then I felt real sassy, so I said, "Have a great day." Yeah. Sorry about this. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new, thank you so much for clicking on this video. I hope you stick around and maybe even watch a couple more. And if you're a returning viewer, clicker, subscriber, OG, thank you a little bit extra. Today we are doing another server slash bartender horror story video, okay? Now, I just filmed, I have to put this in real quick. I just filmed my video revealing the 3 new styles for Noelle lashes. I will have that linked below if you are interested. These videos do really well on my channel. You guys love them. A lot of people love them. Anyone in the service industry can relate, especially obviously restaurant workers. I love unleashing. Whenever, I don't know about y'all, but whenever I'm retelling a story that got me so heated in the moment, I get all heated all over again. And I think that's part of the reason why people love these videos for me, because my Italian blood starts to boil a little, if you get what I mean. So before we get into it, if you would so kindly subscribe to my channel, it means so much. Over half of my viewers are not subscribed and that hurts me just a little bit. So if you'd ever be interested in seeing my face ever again, please hit the subscribe button and let's get into the server bartender stories. So we have 3 stories today. I feel like I say this in every video in some way, shape, or form, so disclaimer. All of these stories are from jobs that I no longer work at. None of these are from my current employment. I would never want to speak badly on customers at my current job, and I love my current job, so I just want to put that out there. None of these are from where I'm currently employed. They're all from places that I used to work back in the day. Also, please don't mind, but my nose is running a freaking marathon. Like, it's like running its own food right now. I don't know what its problem is. Okay, so this first story, I was working at a chain restaurant, and this was a common issue that we had to explain to a lot of people. So this man comes to the bar, I'm bartending, and he's sitting by himself, you know, just having, I think it was lunch, just having his lunch by himself, kind of a beer and a steak, right? Perfect, great, we love to see it. This man sits down and he orders what looks like a steak. It's described as a sirloin on the menu, but it's actually like ground hamburger, kind of like Salisbury steak. It comes on mashed potatoes with gravy. So we advertise it as a sirloin, but it's not actually a steak. It's like ground up hamburger, if that makes sense. More of that consistency. So whenever anyone orders that, I say, okay, just so you know, that is a chopped steak. So it's like a, you know, chopped beef. It's not a solid steak. I just want to make sure that you're aware. And because it's just a common thing, and sometimes people would ask if we could substitute like a real sirloin on top, and I'd have to say no, but I just always made sure that was clear because this is just a common issue, and this was the restaurant's fault because this was poor advertising on their part, but I just worked there, right? So I did my duty to try to not have what was about to happen, but here we are. He gives me his whole order at once. He grabs a beer, also complained that we didn't have a lot of beer on draft, but whatever. He ordered like a Bud Light, so I don't know what his issue was. Anyway, so I give him his beer, and he's kind of, he's not rude, but he's just not nice at all. So I was kind of just getting a weird vibe from him, and that's especially why I explained this is not a sirloin steak. This is not like a filet mignon, okay? This is almost like shepherd's pie, okay? Catch my drift. He said he understood what I was saying. I am doing a lot of talking with my hands. That'll be a theme throughout this video. There was actually a customer that was sitting like a few seats down from him that was kind of like, I hope like he doesn't make a scene. He was getting the same vibe from this guy as I was. Once this food gets put in, I start to get a little bit busier. This was like when we had just opened, so I didn't have that many bar guests at first. So the guy that's only a few seats down was kind of like watching me the whole time, and he was not in like a weird way. He was just really nice, and he came right when the rush kind of, like when a bunch of people came, so he was like, please take your time. I'm in no rush. I just want to enjoy my beer and then I'll order some lunch. So go deal with like your other customers. If I need you, I'll raise my glass. He was very, very kind. So I'm like, okay, so I'm running around getting drinks for the entire restaurant and just, you know, doing my thing. So his steak comes up, and actually a server at this restaurant, usually the servers would run our food. just because the food window was right by there and they were usually waiting right in front of the bar, and they were usually waiting for their food as well. And it's just kind of like one of those things where actually at this restaurant, the servers didn't tip out the bartenders, which that's a whole other thing, and that's not the server's fault. And actually a lot of times the servers, if I got slammed, they would like buy me dinner or whatever anyway. But so that was kind of like our trade-off, like just a mutual respect, knowing that the restaurant didn't require them to tip us out, even though me as an only bartender was making drinks for like 30 plus tables. So that was kind of like an unspoken rule we had at this restaurant, where the servers would always help out the bartenders and run our food for us because they're also right there. This poor innocent server, she's one of the sweetest servers that used to work there. She brings it over to this guy and I'm slammed with drinks. So I can see it out of the corner of my eye that she went over to him, and I'm in my mind, I'm like, I gotta make sure this guy is good. Let's make sure it's cooked the way he wanted it, everything. So I finish up a couple drinks and I turn around. I'm like shaking a margarita or something. Like I know I had something in my hand. So it's either martini or margarita. And I say, hey, how's your lunch? Did everything come out okay? And he literally looks at me, shoves the plate off of the bar so it like falls all over. We have glassware that was like underneath the lip of the bar. Is that the thing? The tabletop of the bar. And it crashed everywhere. It broke all my, like all the glasses there. The food got everywhere. It's absolutely disgusting. And I'm just sitting there like, and he literally goes, this is not what I asked for. This is not a steak, and it wasn't cooked properly. This place. And just leaves. You know, it just really kills me when you see like grown-ass men act like children. I would never fathom acting like that. And the whole bar like is just in awe. Like we all kind of just freeze. And then I felt real sassy. So I said, have a great day. Because we already know this man's gonna leave a scathing review and probably try to get me fired, but it is what it is. So not only was like, I'm glad that I was in a good mood that day because I was able to make a joke out of it, and luckily the servers came and helped me clean up that mess. But not only did, like, if I was sitting right there, he could have hurt me like by pushing the plate in front of me. You caused a mess, you broke glassware, and you're leaving hungry. And the only good thing that sometimes comes of these situations, and that this doesn't happen every time, but especially at the bar, because you have all of your guests like around you, if you have nice people sitting at the bar and they see these other people being complete and total jackasses, they tip you really well, typically, not always. But I've had that happen a few times where someone has tipped me, like just a single person, like 20 bucks, like that guy I mentioned before who was sitting here, tipped me like 25, like his bill was 25 and he rounded it up to 50 or something like that. So at least like sometimes that can come out of it when people see like what you actually have to deal with, whether they know how the restaurant industry works or not. Like people are shocked when they see that happening, as they should be, even though it's just a Friday for me. So yeah, that was fun. But with something like that, which is so ridiculous, and I had people helping me and all my other bar guests were like really understanding and so many people saw what happened, it didn't like deter me or ruin my shift, because there's definitely times where that does, which is where I'm going to get into the next story. This next story takes place at a different restaurant, and what's important to note is that in this restaurant, the entrance, let's say the entrance to the restaurant is right here, and then just far back, and then right across from that is the entrance to the bar, and then the entrance to the kitchen. So we always have to be careful when we're running food because we want to make sure we're not running into people. And we kind of need the area clear at all times, obviously, like we just have to make sure. So if we have a hostess on, they're always looking to see if we're about to run food before they take people in, blah, blah, blah. We have to be careful with the bartenders, all that stuff. So this was like, I don't know, a random weeknight. It wasn't like super busy, but also this restaurant had a patio. So it was fairly busy because I remember it was a really nice day outside. So for like a Wednesday or whatever day it was, we were pretty busy and we didn't have the staff like we would a Friday night, you know? So we're already busy. All of a sudden, with no warning, no call ahead, nothing, this, I don't know, office party, whatever comes in, someone was retiring and they decided to have a little party shindig at our bar area, which is okay, but also like we don't really have the capacity for that without notice ahead of time, and it's just really frustrating because we actually have a banquet room that we could have booked for them, but no, they just decided to show up literally like at least 20 people and hog the entire bar, which first of all is just rude for the bartender because they were blocking seats so that actual bar guests couldn't sit down. So some people might say, oh well, having a party that size can make you a lot of money. If they're just drinking and they're blocking your other way of service, then that's a problem. And honestly, it's very inconsiderate and rude. They didn't want to sit down, they were just huddling and like taking up the entire bar area space, which was extremely frustrating. And I kept telling my manager, please talk to them. They're taking money away from us. They're making things way more chaotic than they need to. And they keep blocking the entrance to the kitchen, and I'm going to lose it. Like, this manager knew me and his wife knew me as well previously, and like there were times where if I said something to him in a certain way, I feel like he understood that I was like, I will lose my cool. And it was coming to one of those moments because it was just one frustrating thing after another, and these people, no matter what I said to them, would not get out of the way, and it was extremely frustrating. It's freaking rude, okay? So don't do that. So I was already having just a really frustrating night, and I constantly was running, like when I was running food, I would have to yell because obviously also I'm short and a lot of these people just happen to be tall. So I'm like, excuse me, next to you, behind you, I have hot food in my hands, like yelling, and these people still wouldn't move. Like at one point I actually had to like kick someone a little bit, like nudge them and be like, hello, I'm trying to get by, because I could not get by and they were just blocking it. And the bartenders were getting so frustrated, obviously, because they were not making money and just having to yell at these people the whole time. They weren't even rude, like they were nice, and they're like, oh my God, I'm so sorry, in your way. Okay, great, but you haven't learned your lesson after the third time of me saying you're in your way. So it was honestly even more frustrating that they were so nice about it, because they, like, it's like it went in one ear and out the other. So you're like, oh, okay, maybe they'll get it the next time I have to run food. No, they just kept doing it. So they weren't rude in what they were saying or anything, but they were extremely rude in how they were acting and inconsiderate, and here I am getting heated again. So I'm about to run food. I'm already getting angry. At this point, I'm not even being nice to these people. Like, obviously I'm not being mean, but I'm just, I wasn't like, oh, excuse me, sir, like I'm trying to get by you. I was like, excuse me, I have food in my mouth. You know, like I'm over being nice at this point, because clearly nice ain't working. Ooh. I can carry 3 plates. It's not anything like crazy, but it's kind of important to what happened. So I had a table of 4 that I was running food for, and it was a family. So it was like obviously the parents, an older sibling, and a younger sibling. And usually, like, it's kind of restaurant etiquette that if a child's food is ready, to just run it and get it out of the way, and especially if they're really young, because they get anxious and stuff, and they're like, you know, they get like, they don't want them running around the restaurant. The parents just want them kind of occupied so that they can enjoy their meal. So that's something that I do a lot. They can get the kid ready, especially if they cut up their food. The kid can start eating, and then by the time the parents' food comes out, they can actually enjoy a freaking meal, you know? That case, unfortunately, didn't happen in this scenario. I had all the food ready at the same time. So I was running it. I had 3 plates in one arm, and I was going to come back for the kids' meal that they were literally like doing as I was getting the plates. So I already brought the kid like something to munch on. So it wasn't like he had no food, but I still didn't have his food in my hands, and he was getting very antsy. That's why before his food was even ready, I brought him like bread or something. So I'm running with 3 plates, and I'm like, excuse me, behind you, trying to get around this guy who was the main guy, and he was really tall. And he's laughing up a storm, you know, clearly not even realizing what's going on. He swings his arm back, smacks me in the face, and I can't help it, I drop all of the food. Now, when a woman is so angry that she's silent, that's when you should be worried. I just stood there, and the guy at this point was clearly like had a little too much to drink and wasn't even like apologetic anymore. He thought it was funny. He hit me in the face and knocked these people's food out of my freaking arms. And he literally was like, oh, I was on my way out anyway. Sorry about that. Bye, everybody. And leaves. I stood there, and the door was like, it was one of those swinging doors. So it was like resting on my arm. So my manager, who was helping cook in the back, saw the whole thing happen. And I'm standing there, obviously back facing him, but he saw what happened. And then I'm just standing there in silence, boiling. And the bar area, everyone just like gasps and is looking at me. And I'm literally like, when the plates are like on the floor and shattered and everything, I literally go like this. The Italian hands just, I stand there, I go. And at this point, the bartenders are coming over. Oh my God, Noelle, are you okay? Oh my God, let me help you clean this. The guests, like the other guests who were this people's like coworkers are embarrassed, to say the least, as they freaking should be, and they're apologizing. I'm saying nothing. I'm just like, all these people are talking to me like, what can I do, what can I do? And I just go, put my hands up. My manager comes back and like comes up from behind me and goes, Noelle, do you need to go to the bathroom? And I just nod and I just walk out. I was so done. People helped me clean up the mess and everything. The manager knew that I went to the table, the table actually, I think, at least heard what happened, explained that their dinner was going to be free because they had already waited and all of their food got knocked out. Luckily, the kid got his food. So that was like the one good thing about it, why I was mentioning that I didn't have the kid's food in my arms yet. So at least the kid was occupado. I was so mad. It ruined my night. It really did. And even when after that, I actually had people saying, like, from that party saying, I will pay for that table's food. Like, we feel so awful. Like, I can't believe he just left like that. Like, that was just so rude. And I'm like, you know what? You all were being rude. Like, I don't care that you're really apologetic now, because you should have been apologetic and stopped this crap an hour ago. That was not a good one. All right, our last story. This one's kind of quick, so I wanted to squeeze it at the last, but it's one of my personal favorites because this deals with how like genuinely stupid some grown men and women are. Because this story involves a woman. Unfortunately, I don't want to drag down women, but this woman was stupid. But plenty of men have done this to me too. Okay, so I was working as the bartender at this restaurant at the time, and like I said in my first story, at this time it was like a lunch shift, and I was the only bartender on. So when I'm the only bartender on for that lunch shift, obviously I have the whole bar to myself, but I'm also making everyone's drink in the restaurant. And this is a huge restaurant, by the way, so like I'm non-stop. Okay, so this is when I really don't have time for stupid people and where I just don't have as much patience as I normally do, because I'm actually genuinely a pretty patient person. It's really when situations like these where it's like lack of common decency and common sense that really gets me going. So one of the servers, who's actually a good friend of mine at the time, so I pour a tall and a short beer. We had 16-ounce beers and 22-ounce beers, a tall and a short at this place, right? So I pour 2 beers. We have multiple different kinds of glasses. So it's kind of like goes back to that test when you're like in kindergarten where they say like, okay, these glasses have the same amount of liquid, but one looks like it has more than the other because like of the way the glass is shaped. You know what I'm talking about? Like those charts. If I can find one, I'll put it up here. But anyway, this table gets, one of them gets a short and one of them gets a tall. So I put them up there, whatever server takes them. So then the server comes back to me and she said that wasn't a tall. And the server's looking at me like, I know, like she knows it was a tall and I know that it was a tall. And I was like, okay, like, does she want another one? And she was like, well, how about, I hate asking, but do you mind just putting it in one of the taller glasses instead of the mugs, like the short, stocky glasses that we have? I'm like, sure, why not? Maybe like, whatever, annoying, but that should fix the problem, right? No, it doesn't. I give it to the server, I'm like, whatever. And I said, if she complains again, send her my way. Like, I would love to make this woman feel so stupid. A couple minutes goes by, and this woman walks over. I remember she like kind of looked like a Karen, but not really. Like she was one of those Karens that like looked good, like thought she was all that, you know, like her husband pays for everything, but she's miserable and he cheats on her with like girls my age, you know, that kind of vibe. Oh my god, that was so mean. But I hate this woman. Okay, she comes up and first of all, she puts her dirty used glass on like right in front of me on my bar area where I'm making other people's drinks, which is like a huge sanitary problem. So she's about to put it down and I go, oh, no. And I like place it next on the bar and I'm like, I'm so sorry, like what's wrong? Is there something wrong with your drink? I didn't realize it was this woman either because I hadn't seen her. There's like a wall between me and that table section, so I didn't even know what this woman looked like, so I didn't know what was coming to me because I thought it was resolved. She goes, I hate to bother you, but I asked for a tall and this is not a tall. There's no way this is 22 ounces. And I was really busy as per usual. So I said, I'm really sorry, ma'am, but that is a tall. Like, I promise you that is 22 ounces. It might seem different because we have all these different kinds of glasses, but I know what I'm doing. Like, I wish you would just trust me. And it is a 22. Like, I'm not trying to cheat you. I was really nice at first. And then she was just like, but it's not. So I put up all the different 22 glass sizes and the 16-ounce glass sizes. I said, give me a quick minute. I finished my tickets. Meanwhile, everyone at the bar is watching this, which makes this so much better. 16-ounce mugs and 22. So what I did was I poured water into the 16-ounce mug, like into a little 16-ounce cup, and the same glass that she had at the bar that she said was not a 22, I took that water and I poured it into the 22 glass. And did it fill it up? No, it didn't. Shocker, it didn't fill up the glass. So I said, see, this one has more than 16, we only have 16 and 22. And she goes, I don't understand what you just did. So I said, what do you mean? Like, I'm showing you like the difference. I don't want to waste beer. So I just used water. Do you want me to fill up the other one? And she was like, I don't understand. So then, this is how petty I was in this moment, because I was so annoyed that this one was still arguing with me when I literally just showed her a perfectly logical explanation and was so nice to her at first, got her a second beer. Do you want to get embarrassed? So what I did next was I took a bar towel. I said, okay, here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna top off your beer. So I top off her beer and I spill out the water for the 16-ounce mug, right? I put the mug on top of a towel because, spoiler alert, when I pour her 22-ounce into that mug, it's going to spill over. I do that right in front of her, spilling the beer over. I said, ma'am, I don't know how else to explain this to you. If you still don't believe that these are two different glass sizes and that you got the tall one, the one with more beer, as this beer is spilling over, then I think you should get something else to drink, because I don't know how else to explain this to you. And she just walked away. She just kind of just was like, okay, and then walked away and didn't order anything else. Stories like these kind of make me question like what else she does in her daily life, and did she procreate? Because that's concerning. All right, you guys, so that is it for today's server, bartender, storytime, horror story, nightmare of what is the restaurant slash service, customer service industry. If you guys like these style of videos from me, please give it a thumbs up. I do have a playlist down below. I will link that, of course. Comment down below with any stories that you have, because I love seeing those comments. I also feel for you when I see those comments, but it's just a fun space that we can all like relate to and vent about together, you know what I mean? So leave your stories down below. Like this video if you want more of these kinds of videos, and I hope I see you in my next one. Bye guys.